Chapter 5. My eyes widened. What I truly am? I've always wanted to know. But should I know now? Michelle managed to rip the dagger out of my back and I hissed, still glaring at Michelle's dad. "What is your name?" I roared at Michelle's dad, earning a laugh from him. "So he wants to know. I guess I can tell you. You are going to die anyway. My name is Chris," he said, twirling the dagger between his bloodied fingers. I felt a sudden searing hot pain in my shoulder and lower back. It felt like someone stabbing me over and over again. Through teary, blurry eyes, I saw Michelle stabbing his own dad. What? Why? I fell to my knees, whimpering in agony, as I saw Michelle slay his own dad. Chris's head falling to the ground and rolling to a stop. Chris's body fell to the ground and the other hunters scrambled away. Once it was clear, Michelle ran to me and helped me to the cave, where the panther was waiting. I lay down and slumped against the warm panther's fur as I fell asleep. The black panther purred, letting me fall asleep to its purrs as the pain melted into nothing. 1,300 casts, week 3, day 25. I woke up to a dull throb in my shoulders and pelvis, but it wasn't agony. I sat up and saw Michelle crying. Not surprised. He just slayed his own dad, right there, on instinct. Was it to protect me, keep me safe, or was it something personal between them? I studied Michelle, and Michelle saw that I was awake and walked to me. "Hey, you okay?" I nodded, coughing and drinking some herbal water. I looked to my left to see the panther. He was already awake. The black panther walked over and settled onto my side, resting her head in my lap. "For a dangerous animal, this panther seems to like me," I said, stroking its head, earning a purr and a grunt from the panther. "Yeah, really," responded Michelle, chuckling, then started to boil some water for some more herbal tea. I kept stroking the panther's head, and then I drifted off to sleep without even realizing. I woke up at midday to the panther nudging me awake, the panther growling as I woke up. I sat up and unsheathed my dagger, crawling out of the cave to see a sight that made me freeze. Another half-human, trapped in net by hunters. It was a female half-human, but the hunters were trying to load her into a carriage, and Michelle was napping. I pounced at the hunters, who dropped their bows, and I was shot in the shoulder, but I kept going. I was beaten, bruised, punched, kicked, shot, but I kept fighting. This half-human needed me, depended on me. I managed to kill 3 of the 8 hunters, but the other 5 fought back with no mercy. I was shot in the chest and I collapsed, but the panther attacked and killed 2 hunters, but was beaten down too. I watched through blurry eyes as I saw the black panther getting beaten, kicked, shot, and punched. Suddenly, I had a rush of adrenaline rush through me, and I got up, attacking the rest of the hunters until all the hunters were beaten. Arrows stuck out from my skin. My liver was pierced by an arrow, I could tell. But I slowly approached the carriage, where the female half-human was struggling against the net. Once her midnight purple eyes locked onto me, she froze. I looked at her with a soft look, trying to look non-threatening, but she still thrashed. I jumped into the carriage and collapsed beside her, falling unconscious as she stilled and watched me sleep. 1,300 casts, week 3, day 26. I woke up still in the carriage, but my wounds have healed because of my ability, I guess. I sat up and ripped the arrows out of my skin, wincing every time I did. Once that was done, I used scuba bandage to wrap my wounds. My hands covered in blue blood, but I ignored it. Once I finished, my eyes locked onto the female half-human, who was still awake, not thrashing but trembling. I approached her and she yelped. I froze, giving her space, knowing she must be scared to death right now. I would be too, like I was on day 3, but unlike her, I wasn't in net. I quickly grabbed my dagger and cut the rope, then threw the dagger away and backed away. She slowly crawled out of the net and stared at me. Now I saw her. Long purple hair, large white owl wings on her back, clawed hands and feet like me. She had a bra and garmentine on too. That's good. She also had a black, scaly, long tail. She looked like she came out of the far galaxies and stars. I slowly got up and brushed off my shoulders, and she stood up on two legs too. Hello, I said in English, but she didn't understand. Right. She never learned English like I did from Michelle. I got a step closer to her, and she didn't move, only stared into my eyes. She stepped closer to me and touched my scaly arm, feeling the scarlet red scales as she studied them. I stood completely still, not wanting to startle her. Maybe she hasn't seen a male half-human in her life. I looked into her beautiful eyes and felt this feeling in my chest, felt drawn to her. She felt my abs and I chuckled. That tickles, I said, and she pulled away. But then she went back to touching my abs, feeling my muscles and rough skin. I smiled, and she relaxed. Is that Nan? I asked. For people who don't know Durgan, it means are you okay? She nodded, nudging my shoulder with her head, as if seeking comfort. I pat her head and she chirped. I could see she had a yellow owl beak. She must be part owl. So cool. I cleared my throat and guided her out of the carriage, but I could tell she was weak, so I scooped her up in my strong arms and carried her to my camp, the Black Panther limping behind us, but followed us until the camp came into view. Michelle ran to me and gasped, seeing the female half-human in my arms. He guided me to rest her on a bed of moss, and I wrapped up her wounds. Michelle took care of the Black Panther, while I took care of the female half-human. Then an idea struck my mind. Hey, I have a name for this panther. How about Scarlet? I said, looking at Scarlet. Scarlet purred and sat up, running into the woods suddenly. I was confused, but I went back to helping the female half-human. An hour later, Scarlet came back with the cub in her maw, placing her cub in my lap. I finished the last knot on the last wrapping of the female half-human's wounds and looked at the cub, who yelped and nipped at my arm. Scarlet nodded and nudged my arm. I knew what that meant. She wanted me to leave her cub with me. She wanted me to take care of her cub. I patted her head and kissed her forehead goodbye, and she ran back into the woods. The cub watched and whined, but I held the cub close. Michelle helped feed the female half-human water and food while I fed the cub warm milk from a wild sheep. Once the cub was fed, the sun was setting, so I helped the female half-human into the cave, along with the cub, me, and Michelle, and we all fell asleep in the nighttime ambience.